Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning,
Hello.
everyone. Good morning, Laura. How are you?
Morning. I'm good. I'm okay, thank you. I'm cradling my tea and just recovering from the week because we may stay on topic. It's been an eclipse week. Yes.
I'm so curious about how the month has been for you because
Because
before, before we finished last week, we mentioned how unfathomable the month is going to be, especially for Aries. And as a representative of the Aries community,
for
I
better
was
or for
very
worse.
curious, very curious to know how you felt about the sun and the moon going into Aries at the same time, creating a new moon and eclipse in Aries, which is at the same time of the Venus retrograde in Aries and the Mercury retrograde in Aries. Have you experienced any unusual disasters and misalignment? Twitch. The Twitch is the answer.
Literally just the answer. Yeah, it's not been the best. It's not been the best. I mean, it's not like any huge disaster. Well, I'm not even going to say that. No, zip. The time's over yet, is it? I can't say. It's like, what's the worst that can happen? Shh, don't say these things. These things, we're still going through
What's
it.
the worst that can happen is literally my motto, and it's a very bad motto.
I never said it again. Once I was on holiday in Sri Lanka with my boyfriend at the time, and we were going to go for a walk, and I said, "What's the worst that can happen?" And lightning literally struck and illuminated the sky, and I was like, "That."
Such a spiritual place to be asking
It
insane
was like
questions.
boom. And I was just like, maybe don't, maybe no.
Yeah, so it's been quite the month already, but the eclipse is not with us quite yet. We're creeping up towards the eclipse, or rather, it is creeping up towards us.
It is creeping and weeping and bleeping up towards us.
Yeah, yeah. So the eclipse, for those not in the know, is coming up on Saturday. We've got a partial solar eclipse
Yeah.
2 weeks after a complete and total lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago. Survived the lunar eclipse kind of all right?
No.
No, not so much. The
Why?
lunar eclipse
That was okay.
um,
That was okay.
uncovers mysteries. So I suppose, is that when you had like a diagnosis for the kitty?
Yeah, I think it was actually more than 2 weeks. It was actually last new moon. It's been the last month, really. I think the eclipse itself was okay because I think sometimes it can hit at different points, can't it? Around this whole period, it's like an era,
Yeah,
and it was more like last dark moon, new moon, and then yeah, that was when I think I felt it more. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Because the eclipse
How
is
about
always
you?
in pairs, so you've got like a solar and a lunar. I had such a lot of stuff planned for this kind of time that I feel like if things are exploding, I'm not really noticing them because I'm in full blow, you know, um, already. So
Yeah.
if perhaps it's impossible for me to sleep a couple of nights a week, it's already sort of planned in advance, so I don't feel like it's kind of an eclipse thing. I tell you what, I've not had, and I'm a little suspicious. The retrogrades. I'm a Pisces. So this retrograde is divided between my people and your people. We've got both, both the Venus retrograde and the Mars retrograde are retrograding through Aries back into Pisces, and then Pisces will sort of get the deja vu again. And it very rarely happens to me that people come back into my life during a retrograde, which is sort of usually quite a typical thing. I suppose Kirsty was here a couple of weeks ago, but none of that happened at all. And I'm thinking, really, 2 retrogrades coming into my sign? No people have come back. Where are you guys?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at my phone with some trepidation, some trepidation, because I'm the kind of person when I leave people behind in my life, I have no curiosity or interest or, empathy. This is, at the end of the day, if I deleted you, I probably mean it.
Yeah,
Almost
yeah.
100% mean it. So, so I'm a little suspicious that none of that happened, but we had obviously an incredible weekend. It was my son's bar mitzvah. My dad came over. That went beautifully. But on my dad's flight to the UK, it was with a stopover in Berlin. And in Berlin, they were saying to him, do you have a visa for the UK? A visa is something that nationals of Israel do not need for the UK. And he was like, yes, because he taught me everything I know. He's like, yes. And that confused her because she knew that it was not necessary and he knew it was not necessary, but he said yes. And he said that created enough confusion, but they were saying to him, you're not checked in. You're not going to be able to get on the flight unless somebody else chooses to get off the flight. Now, he doesn't believe in astrology. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, in those words, works in all the languages. So so he did make it here. We had an incredible weekend, lots of traveling and so on. So, so we did a lot of stuff and everything went more or less according to plan. But had he not sort of been on the ball at the airport to, make eye contact with the plane and board that plane no matter what,
yes,
would have been a very, very different weekend.
Is he still there now? Is he still with you now?
No, so he flew back, as far as I know, successfully. He's a Virgo, a man of few words. So all I got from him was like a black and white checked flag, arrived to destination flag in an emoji. So I'm assuming it means
all is well.
He's home and fine. But yeah, we had an incredible weekend. But yeah, let's wait for the actual eclipse.
Yeah,
always come in pairs, and I have had. I'm so thankful that I have so much work, but I didn't. I wasn't able to sleep at all on Monday because I was covering something live. Not this Monday, the Monday before. I was covering something live that I had to be awake for, and then I didn't sleep almost at all on Friday night because I was preparing everything for the following day and baking 2 challahs, Jewish sweetbread rises to that. Looks a little bit like a 70s hairdo with sesame.
Amazing.
So I was baking 2 of them. You've got to lead them to rise like 3 times. I've given so much love to that challah, more than I've given any members of my family, or while breastfeeding a baby. There was a lot of attention going in there. So that was 2 nights in 1 week of not sleeping at all. That's kind of eclipse-ish, but that is more like, I think, a leftover from the lunar eclipse of before. The not sleeping.
Yeah. I don't know what's up or down, so you can ask me questions and I'm like, up, down, what?
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, is there anything you're expecting to sort of go spectacularly to pieces over the weekend? But the eclipses don't work. Yeah. That's it, because the eclipses don't really give you a clue, and the retrogrades don't really give you a clue either. So you could do like everything you're supposed to, back up all your pictures, and in the end it'll actually be like your door caves in.
Exactly. It's almost like it's a bit of a joke. Like, where is the gap in the mark? You've done everything. You've checked all your text messages. You've done the emails twice. But if your internet, your website goes down, or if your door breaks, or there's been so many things with so many people, it's just going to be a wild card. You can't really prepare for it. Well, you can prepare yourself for it, but you can't fend off any possible.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's actually talk about some ways of preparing mentally for astrological disaster. Should we read some messages and then we'll share?
I'm just going to put the on charger on my laptop. Otherwise, the disaster would be, vanish off your screen. So 2 seconds. Let me just
I'll take you off screen while I read some messages.
Yes.
Hi, guys. Don't gossip about Laura behind her back just because she's not on screen right now. So we've got a hello from Curtis. Mwah. We have We have Mark saying, hello, Inbaal and Laura. It looks like an interesting subject with the solar eclipse tarot. Hello, everyone else. Please remember to press like so you get alerts when these two ladies and others are on. Diane says, hey, by the way, Laura, I'm sticking you back on screen. It's for you. By the way, Laura, I'm sorry, says Diane. I rushed you about the bears comment last week. I came on late and didn't realize you needed to leave early.
Oh. You didn't rush me at all, Diane. And also, I love talking about that kind of thing. So not in the slightest. I'm sorry that I couldn't maybe give it the full time that I would like to have done. But you really please don't apologise. Not at all. I love talking about that kind of thing.
That was such a good answer as well when you were saying that's why there's a teddy bear and not a teddy rat. Or that really stayed with me.
Oh, good. It's really good we only had a couple of minutes. Otherwise, we'd still be there and I'd still be telling you about, in Paleolithic times, and you'd be like...
Not at all. I feel like the value that you bring is the, not having to sort of reach for a book or Google anything. Just ask the Google Laura and you have all the information you need. And what the new updates in the Google where it says to you, would you like us to tell you the AI version of, like a full narrative full of errors? You don't have that bug.
No, I mean, I've only got very specific knowledge. Certain things I will not have a freaking clue about. But yeah, I know we have to check those AI things, don't you? It's like it will say all this stuff, and you're like, that sounds very convincing until you actually look into it.
Yeah. So I think I told you, I got like an astrology request from one of the PRs I work through, going, can you analyze the 2025 most important love aspects or something? And it was a really believable list. Venus conjunct Mercury, and so it looked really, really good until I checked it. And out of the 5 things they asked, one of them was from 2025 and others were from completely different years, because they must have asked AI, what can we ask our astrologer to analyze for love in 2025? And AI did the job, but badly.
Yeah, as it does. Yeah.
So I sent it back. I was so annoyed. You know what I'm like when I'm angry, sassy. I was so annoyed. I was like, did you get AI to do this? Because it doesn't work. This is why you have astrologers. I mean, I don't even think I'm like that sharp of an astrologer, but I could see that this looks great, but it's like putting a filter. It's like this is not astrology. You can't just make stuff up. Because it's not like vibes. There are planets. They're in the sky. They're looking at you and they're judging you.
They're judging AI and going, we're going to mess with you.
Yeah. One of the many things that can go even wronger during the eclipses.
Yeah.
Simeon says, good morning, second breakfast people. Hope you're having a fantastic day and many blessings.
Yeah. Second breakfast is up.
Yes. Sandy says, good morning, ladies. We have another very greetingy message from Simeon. Mark says, Thor was a little tribey then. A lot. Spawn says, good morning and blessings. And Spawn is correctly sounding freaked out. All the planets in our star are in magnetic reversal at the moment, so the energies are all over the place. Yes, they are all over the entire place. The entire place.
Yeah. Hi, Helen.
Hi, Helen. Mark says, my worst bit, I always just sort of flick it to screen, then read it, and then regret it, because I don't like check for swears or anything. My worst bit from 3 days ago, went yesterday, thank the goodness, was a migraine. I hate them, but it wasn't.
Oh, yeah, that's not. You have one too?
Yeah, I don't get like full migraines. I get like some just eye migraines, but it was an annoying headache. It would not go away. And it's the same like from about 3 days ago. Had it for about 2 days. Man, I was annoyed about it. It just slows you down, doesn't it?
It's the worst. It's grim. It's just
grim.
Yeah, bless you, both of you.
Mark says, unfortunately, AI isn't that intelligent, but at least he didn't fall. I say, unfortunately, fortunately.
I think, fortunately.
Yeah.
We've seen Terminator, yeah. We've seen.
We're seeing it in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, different ways of mentally preparing for eclipses and retrogrades. Have
I
you
think
got
the
any
English
tips?
way is cup of tea. Lots of tea.
Also good coffee.
It's a bit like Solly, isn't it? It's a bit like Solly.
Oh, my little Solly boo boo.
Yeah, it looks a bit like Solly.
Such a cute boy.
He's a cute boy.
We were cleaning Vigo's room and tidying up the picture of Sully and Stella that you made, and it's in his room. Little bar mitzvah boy. Yes, yeah, it's still there. We love it. Yes. So actually, tea is one, or just one aspect, but I think in a way making sure that you're well nourished, well rested as much as possible.
There's you. Well rested.
Yeah. Speak to myself in the mirror. Please rest well.
No.
But yeah, just sort of being as physically strong as you can make yourself within your own limitations, I think is a good preparation, so that if it is going to trip you up, that it doesn't catch you when you're already hungry or a bit weak or a little bit, constipated or, or a little bit undercaffeinated.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really hard at these times to kind of go, oh, I'm just going to meditate, or I'm just going to take a time out. But it's almost, because it's so hard, it's even more important, because I think Spawn was saying, it was like everything just feels like it's whipped up like this, and it will just take you, if you're not great, and whip you up with it, So it's like actually just allowing us, making sure that you have a little bit of time each day just to reconnect, to ground, to breathe, to be in your center. I was thinking about like the Wheel of Fortune, it's sort of spinning around, and you're kind of in the best place to be is in the center when everything is going around you, just trying to find that central point so you can watch it. But I know that's even harder to do when you do feel emotionally pulled. So having a practice of being in your center, of getting some meditation or some time out, is a really, really good idea.
Absolutely. And I think to that end, either a walk outside if you have an outside to walk in, or a break by the window where you're allowing yourself any length of time to be doing nothing but staring out the window, looking at the sky, sitting with a crystal. It doesn't have to be a whole thing, as long as it's a thing and it's for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I did that yesterday. Just went outside and just changing. I think being in nature is really good, because nature's not going to be affected in the same way. You've got a tree's going to be a tree. It's going to ground you, and the rivers are going to run, and just allowing this energy to take the stress away from you as much as you can, working with nature to let it take that stress from you. You come back with hopefully with a bit of, at least a bit rested, if not a bit of a different perspective.
And I think it works on an energetic level as well, that when you're sort of carrying that weight, you put your hand on a tree, the tree will absorb some of it. You're walking in the grass, it'll take some of it for you, in the same way that, it's not cruel to give garbage to the grass, because it likes it, it eats it, it's nourishment.
It transforms it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a really, really good idea. I think also sort of mentally preparing for the worst. I think it's very British. So for anybody sort of watching from across the sea, it was never easy for me.
It's not for me either. No, but apparently it's what everyone does. I'm like, no, why do you think about it? Why do you think about it?
Yeah, that's it, because you're an optimist.
Yeah.
But when you know that some astrological disasters are coming, then at least be ready that they might go wrong. And what I mean by it is not take it personally as your own failing.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, blame it on the boogie. It's not you that did it.
Yeah.
You got dragged into it. Do you know, I had a message over the weekend from a friend who's involved in some really complicated paperwork at the moment. She needs to get that authorized so that then she can do this. And she rang me up sort of as a friend. She's like, I'm so sorry if you don't want to answer that, if you need me to book. And I was like, talk about the retrograde in my free time. Yes, please. It's, ask anything. I'll stay on the phone with you for days. But she was fearful to start the whole process now. And I said, you know what? Just flip it around, submit everything. If you're rejected, it was like a yes or no type thing. If you're rejected, then in your brain, say to yourself, maybe it was rejected in error. Maybe it was rejected in error and it's the retrograde. Resubmit then, rather than already sort of picturing that it might have gone wrong, because the retrograde could catch them and they could see your, slightly garbage submission and go, yeah, all right, it's all right. Yeah, you're in. So I said, jump in, take advantage, just resubmit afterwards, because you can kind of harness those things to work with you, to work for you. Who is the boss of your life, I ask you?
Star. Oh, I mean... Yeah.
I know, caffeine. Yeah, but who oversees? Who does the catering for the boss of your life?
Yes. No, it's so true. And I was thinking this the other day about, not putting things off, but being really flexible about how they work out in a retrograde. Like you say, if my friend was applying for a flat she really, really wanted, and the landlord was messing around and saying this and going to go a different route and and I was like, don't give up on that. They're giving a different, they're trying to go a cheap way now. Then the retrograde's finished. They're probably begging you to take the house. It's just like, it's or knowing that, if it's not quite right, it will come back in a different way afterwards, but not stopping everything just because, because it's retrograde. Just maybe being flexible on how that result comes to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's actually like a weird way that you can take advantage of the different retrogrades as they go through different signs, because Aries is quick and optimistic.
Yes.
If you're going to have a retrograde, you want it quick and optimistic. I got fined for submitting my accounts late, and I was so annoyed because I did submit them on time, but I pressed the wrong button.
Oh,
so I was so annoyed. It's such a waste of money, that fine. So, I've already paid you everything I owe you. Why more? Because the button. Anyway, I submitted an appeal immediately. You've never seen me move so fast as to submit that appeal. Paid the fine because you don't want to be sort of get fined on top of fine. Anyway, and in their system, it was like, you're going to hear back April 7th. I was like, okay, I am a patient woman. April 7th is good for me. 3-4 days ago, I have a letter, like an actual letter that comes through the door. Remember those? And I was like, oh. And I opened it, and my appeal was accepted.
Amazing.
And they returned my fine, and I was thinking it must be their retrograde.
Yeah,
I'm their punishment, their retrograde, and it came through. And I thought, well, obviously it's Aries. It came more than a week earlier than they were even supposed to look at it. It went in my favor. I know that the retrograde will sort of make sure that this it lands in my account like next year when they return it. But I think that because even though you're like the boss of your life, also everybody around is living their lives.
Yeah.
So there's stuff that goes wrong could. I'm not saying, I'm not happy for anybody's stuff going wrong, but it could be that their stuff going wrong will somehow, reflect well on you.
Yeah. It's exactly. We've got to be flexible how it would happen. We have our own things to deal with, but there could be random ways that things work out for us. So yes.
Maintain optimism as much as possible. And is it the opposite, to sort of prepare for the worst and then still hope for the best?
I struggle with it. I've been told this by many people. What you need to do is plan for the worst that can happen. I was like, but I'm such a manifester that I think by spending too much energy on that, I'm actually kind of living in it. And then so it's a really hard one, because I kind of know what I'm like as energy. It's like the fact that I stay, it's a tough one, because it's good to prepare, but I find it hard. Like, if you're going to go there, then I'll be there. That's why I can't watch movies that are stressful, because I'm there. It's yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You haven't watched the news in like 15 years more.
Probably, yeah.
No, yeah, you're missing nothing. I'll let you know if something really, really important happens.
Exactly. And I think when I sort of watched it, I think accidentally, or my mum's house, and you become really aware of how pointed it is. Like, it's not exactly, you're being told specific things in specific ways, and it's just like, and because you're not used to watching, you're like, well, why are you telling me that in that way when yesterday you told me that in a different way? So it's an interesting one. I know it's really obvious, but you become, but you don't, it's like when you don't have sugar and you have, which I have never not done, but and then you have sugar again, it's like, whoa, you feel it so strongly. So
yeah, with caffeine, you've done no caffeine months.
Yeah.
So some of us have done years. I haven't really had alcohol in like 15 years. And I don't even want to say in public how much I'm looking forward to like the first binge.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? You might need to imagine, because memory will not be. Mark says about the migraine, yeah, it does. And I was here a few nights ago. It was there, almost left full time. I've been through worse, so survived. Oh, I'm for Sully. Diane says, I've been drawing more again after not doing it for maybe a year. It feels good.
You see, that's a good thing about the retrograde. We can go back and remember what's important to us.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So finding old books that you used to love and you haven't reread in ages, hobbies, even sort of getting behind the fridge based on a true story. I did that yesterday. Getting behind the fridge, sort of finding, peas, pencils.
Yeah. Letters.
Bills.
Ooh.
Helen's actually got a little questiony poo for us, saying, I had a call on my mobile the other day, and when I answered, the person hung up. Do you think it was a scam call, please? I didn't recognize the number, but won't call it back. Just curious.
Yeah, this is a good way. Don't answer the phone. Ask us, guys. Let's have a look. Okay. I think. What do you think? What's coming up?
I think it's definitely a scam call. But I also feel like it's not Helen. Sorry, I'm talking about you, Delora, instead of talking to you. Helen, it's definitely a scam call. But the good news is that I don't feel that it's a scam call that you're like regularly on their system. I feel like they were just sort of going number, rather than have a whole, what do you call it? Like a whole roster that they go through again and again.
Yeah, it's funny because what I got around it was a justice card and the power card. Like they're kind of masking as some kind of, you've got money back, or if you don't do this, then you need to do like a legal company or a bank or something where you insurance. I don't know, something like masking is that. Underneath it, you've got the magician, you've got the Mercury himself in the retrograde. So it's just like, the Joker, the magician, the trickster. So, but I love the fact that in this, it's almost like the floor looks like a polystyrene wall. Like, this is our office, it's all, it feels very very fake. So
wow. Amazing with the magician underneath it.
Yes.
And then so the retrogrades have their own like quirks with things coming back, things going wrong, so on and so forth. But the eclipses are kind of weirder, aren't they? The lunar eclipse that we had was all about kind of uncovering secrets, finding out new things, uncovering mysteries. The solar eclipse that we're just marching towards is about radical shifts and changes. Scary and hard to prepare for. How do we prepare for the eclipse when when of course hiding hiding with a kettle is not possible.
What? Yeah, it's sort of a purging time, isn't it? Not hope you're not being sick, but like,
Getting
no,
rid of
maybe.
what's not, yeah.
No, maybe, yeah. It's seeing it as, I know, not trying to see the good and everything, but seeing that, okay, this is, if you see it like you're going through a gateway, that the two clips could be two gateways, and you've been through the first one, we're in that kind of weird no man's land in the middle, then you're going to go through the second one, and choose your favorite fantasy sci-fi show to see how those gateways would look for you, and that when you're going to go through them, something will not be going with you, or something will come up to make you different when you come out the other side. And if you sort of see it like that, then it doesn't come like, oh my god, why is the universe doing it to me? I mean, it might do it in really bizarre ways, but I bet you'll look back and go, okay, that's been an initiation 1, initiation 2, out the other side, maybe with a few less hairs. Or a few more hairs, I don't know. But it's if we see it as, okay, we're going through those gates to release, it's a mindset thing as well. So if we can see it, not that everyone's out to get us, but that we're being challenged to kind of, I don't know, it's like an alchemy process, isn't it? That could be a good way of seeing it if we need the mindset to get us through it, which I do. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I love how you described like the pair of eclipses that you're kind of going in and you're coming back out. So if you're going through a tunnel, like even when you're traveling in the car and you're sort of driving to Wales towards the ferry, you go through the tunnel, you come out of the tunnel, and it's suddenly sunny and you can see the sea.
Yes. Yeah.
So getting through the tunnel, that really sort of helped me contextualize it. But the purging is something that you can get ahead of yourself, because getting rid of stuff, that you don't need is like an offering to the eclipse. If the eclipse is kind of knocking on your door, we are going to get rid of some stuff for you. And I'm like, well, I've got my bag of old bikinis that's going to the charity shop. I don't know who's going to want it, but they said they want like anything. And we've got another bag of hot water bottles. Again, based on a true story.
All adventures, yeah. Cold weather, warm weather.
I'm in Yorkshire, so the bikini and the hot water bottle there, it's the same activity. But I think you give it as an offering. Hello, Eclipse. You are wanting me to get rid of stuff. I have 2 bags. They're going to the charity shop. When I come back, I don't have them anymore. So will this do? Are we happy with that? And, if the Eclipse has got other people to bother, who it's, more like, hot on, then that offering might leave you alone. I'm just saying that if a change has to happen, then trying to sort of go for a change that you initiate, instigate, agree to, accept, maybe are even happy with.
Yeah, that's a really good way of seeing it. I like that. And I think the universe always likes it if we're proactive in our healing and releasing, doesn't it? Really, not going no. It's like,
exactly. Oh no, honestly, I think the plants can be such bullies that if you're like, I'm not here, you cannot see me, it'll be like in your face.
Yeah. Hello,
I have 3 of your exes on the phone right now. Which one would you like to talk to first? Whereas if you're like, okay, I'm going to drop a like on an ex's Instagram, confuse him so that I'm his retrograde mix-up.
Oh my god.
Thankfully, absolutely 0 of my exes can work social media. Woo! Big win. Big win. Also, current. No social media. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
I know, isn't it weird? And also, none of I make it sound like I had loads of exes. I had like 2 exes, 1 husband. Also, none of them eat egg. Right? Egg and social media. What is it a type? Is it a type? Because they're all very different. They're all different star signs. They're all like different heights and different hobbies. But the egg and the social media.
I don't know. I have no words. I wonder if anybody else at home has got that experience. But they wouldn't be watching because we're on social media. So
They're not. Yeah, the husband is outside gardening, so I know he's not watching. I can see him trimming my olive tree, to which I gave no consent.
oh,
I know, but it's not like I'm gonna do it.
it sounds like a
But yeah,
delicate process trimming an olive tree. It sounds like you need to know what you're doing. I don't know.
no, he really doesn't. He really doesn't. No, he just, he cuts things at random. It's really like, when you give a toddler like a Hoover and they walk around, they feel like they're doing a really good job, but it doesn't. That's the gardening. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. It looks like gardening. It is in the garden, but it may as well have been like plastic secateurs and a nappy.
That's a vision. A vision.
Do you know what's funny? I'm going to go back to the messages that I haven't read, but when you said about with the purging with sickness, and then you were like stopping yourself, and that it resonated with Simeon, who says, funny how you mentioned the purging as in being sick. The last month with retrograde and eclipses, I've been nothing but ill with cold, flu, and other things. Still counts as clearing, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It really does. I mean, our physical bodies are like instruments of the galaxies and the universe, so they're going to work through us. And yeah, I reckon that people have been, some people have been emotional stuff, mental stuff, or physical stuff, and sometimes all three. So yeah, it really does count. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, no, I think that's really, really interesting, because sometimes the physical body will run you through the ringer, and you might get through the retrograde and you'll be like, nothing much happened. My phone survived. My laptop is still, front door is on. Nobody weird rang me. But you'll have been sick as a dog for a month and not really count it. And, and Simeon, it just sort of resonated with him when you said about the purging.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Many types of purging. Yeah, Mark goes, if I have someone call me and I don't recognize their number, then I don't answer. If it's important, then they will leave a voicemail. Very simple, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think it's the new way, isn't it? There's so many crap calls you get, isn't it? It's just...
Yeah, it's also a generational thing. You were saying about the kind of 70s born walking through the door, not feeling it, 80s born walking through the door. The same guy has the 70s born, or no, I think it's like 50s born, phone rings, hey, how are you, and then sort of a little bit younger sort of looks at the number. But my dad's phone rings, he picks it up. He doesn't even look whose number it is, whether he recognizes it, whether it's come on the phone or on the WhatsApp, or the man picks up the phone and puts it to his ear. I'm like, how do you even know? How do you even know?
I don't.
Unless, like, now I have to answer some numbers I don't recognize because, kids at school. So if I see a local number, I'll answer just in case, because it has happened before. They'll be like, hey, we're talking to the school. You've got to come in and take her to A&E because she split her knee open. So if I missed that call, that would have been like really bad. So local numbers, true. Yes. Numbers I recognize, like if you rang, I would pick up immediately, but in a panic.
Yes.
What happened? Why is the note? Why is the voice call? Are you ringing from, from the bottom of a well? And that is about it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's become the norm, isn't it, to Google numbers rather than answering them.
I'm very thankful that I can learn some stuff from the generation that follows me. Thank you, millennials.
I want to talk to this person. And you see
on
how many
behalf
people
of Gen X.
You can see how many people have already Googled that number.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this number has been reported by 3 people.
Yeah, in the last 10 minutes, like you're my people. You're my people.
Yes, yeah. Let's all hold hands and hum together. Helen says thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mark is still there on the number. That's really funny. But I think that's still part of the retrograde slash eclipse conversation. I've got some, shall we say, sort of subscriber numbers that ring with the same kind of 4 digits at the start and the different sort of 3 digits at the back, and they ring every day. And I think, well, that's quite a retrograde thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Blocking my phone, come to annoy me.
Yeah. Oh, the joys. But
Yeah.
yeah, and also with Venus retrograde as well, the idea of not doing anything drastic with your look is a thing as well, isn't it? Of not like, like not because Venus retrograde may make you go, I've had this wonderful idea. Especially with Mercury retrograde being the trickster, going, I'm just going to like shave it off and like leave a little bit here and dye that, and you might think in the retrograde joy, that's a great idea. And then Venus retrograde doesn't bode well for big physical beauty changes because Venus is a goddess of beauty and love. And she's going backwards saying, don't do it. Keep your eyebrows.
Wow. I didn't even think about the beauty aspect of Venus.
Yes.
I was like really worried about love and home. But the beauty aspect is really interesting because right now I'm sorting and purging my sock, not a sock drawer, it's like a sock wicker basket.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things there that honestly the mind cannot contain. And with some things, you're like, I'm thinking, I'm not going to throw this bra away without trying it on. Now, it might fit, but it's got like the plastic bits, right? That are they don't exist anymore in any kind of in any kind of realistic way. The white color was white in the history, but is not anymore. But that is really sort of such a Venus retrograde thing, sort of going through all of my socks. I'm like, oh, I used to love this one, but it's at the bottom because it's so uncomfortable. But look how pretty.
Yeah.
So
It is.
yeah.
That's a good Venus retrograde thing. That's that's definitely a good one of going, am I actually going to wear this? It's got lovely memories, but is it me when Venus goes forward? Do I want to take that with me? But we just also just don't do what you like, people, but advise against doing drastic haircuts or style changes because it's probably it's just not the best time for. Oh, I'm going to go for that great hairstyle. Maybe give it a few weeks, then see if you still want that hairstyle.
Yeah.
Try semi-permanent things and see if it works, but it's not the best time for beauty makeovers because Venus goes, not today, we're having a nap.
Nothing that takes 4 weeks to grow an inch.
Yes. Yeah.
Also my dating advice. Gosh, I'm pleased how that worked out.
Oh, that worked out so well.
You handed it to me. I share the credit for this disgusting joke with you. But I think with it being retrograde, it's not sort of the risk is not so much in going forward radical, but in sort of going backwards and going, oh, do you know what was really nice? Remember how happy I was when I shaved my head because I was traveling India and it was so cool to sort of go without shampoo. And it was, it was a time that I was really happy with my life. Like you said, wait a few weeks.
Yeah. There was something the other day where someone was saying to me, I just want to do this. I want to do this. It actually was about contacting an ex, actually. And I did just say, just give it, keep that feeling. If it's the same feeling in 2 or 3 weeks' time, then contact them. But my feeling is that feeling will have gone.
Left no trace.
None. You wouldn't even remember you had that feeling. And if it's that much important feeling, give it a couple of weeks. And if you still go, that guy, I just want to contact him, knock yourself out. But right now, hold on to the feeling and put it in a box.
Yeah, I love that. And also, that is such a beautifully British piece of advice. Hold on to the feeling, put it in a box.
Yeah.
This is where feelings go. Feelings are happy there. They're happy. They feel safe. There's no way they can set you astray. it's not really on topic, but there are
No.
moments where I feel so lucky, right? I feel so lucky that my exes are so awful that there's really sort of no there's no planetary alignment that will make me think, yeah, that is the idea I'm going with.
Yeah.
There really is a silver lining to everything.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Amazing. Ooh, we've got a nice request from Mark for the future. Can we have a meditation session on one of your shows one day, ladies? Just a thought, given we know a lot of folk find it difficult to calm and quieten the mind, etc. And it's good for health. That's amazing. We can go through like different ways, different topics, different preparations, different systems.
Yeah, I love that. We could do one for you guys, as it were. Do one. Nice. I love that. Good idea, Mark. Thank you.
Beautiful idea. Mark, he's liking my joke.
It was brilliant. It's classic Inbaal. If Kirsty here, she'd be dying on the floor,
Classic in my own time. So Diane's got a brilliant question for the sort of eclipse season and the retrogrades. Saying, I know last time we talked about how this is a good time for inner child work. That was back when we were still trying to turn the negative into a positive. We were a week younger and so much more
young and full of hope.
I know. Now we're like skidding down the oiled slide of March 2025 and all the gifts that it's bearing. But she said, sorry, Diane, just steamrolled all over your question. I know last time, I'm sorry, I'm immature. It's not your problem. You don't have to deal with it. I know last time we talked about how this is a good time for inner child work, but what about figuring out your career? And indeed, there's a addendum to that. If you want to do more than one thing, is this when you're pushed to choose one? Kind of love it.
I love that. I feel like just my little thing, I'll put some cards. My thing about, is it time to focus on your career, figure out your career? I think it's time to figure out, like with that whole purging, what is it that lights you up? Like, what is the reality of where you want to spend the next 5, 10 minutes, years? And I think, I'm finding this personally, I don't know if you're finding it too, but there's something about not... It's not saying not chasing the money. Of course, it's about chasing the money, but like really, what are the things that you actually get fired up, lit up? What does your soul go yes about? And let's put a little rune card for you. Got the Fairy one, which is about money and abundance, but it's look at that little happy squirrel. He really wants that nut. He's like, I really want it. And interesting because you could have got that new moon. It's sort of that dark moon on this one, but like a new moon energy where it's like the eclipse when that happens. So I think I feel like it's reaching for your higher self. Regarding your career, like what is it that you really want to do? And that might take a whole lot of bravery because the easy option and what you really want to do could be quite different. That's my first thought about it. What about you?
Yeah, so I think I'm loving that joyful card. It's so joyful. It's so positive. Yay! And I think that the eclipse with the retrograde and everything is a time when changes are happening anyway. So if you can try something out, or even if the new career idea is not something that you can try out, visualize, picture what you would feel like getting up every morning doing it, what you would feel like, because even like the best careers for me are not for everybody. When I teach tarot, is probably the same for you. There's people that will not suit doing it as a full-time job. And I've got to say, if you find giving a reading very, very draining, it's probably not like the career, no matter how much you enjoy it. I know that for me, like I do a lot of writing at the moment and I love it so much. I enjoy it so much. But if you're a social person and you need to be off your sofa in order to feel positive, then don't choose a career where you're on your sofa for
Yeah.
many, many hours in the day with nobody else making you laugh. Now, you see that when, when making your own self laugh is, is okay,
Yes.
then great. But if if you visualize what it would be like, because the retrograde will pull you towards old careers. So you'll be thinking, what would that have been like if I had stayed, if I had sort of gone through all the promotions, if I was still there, what would that have been like? Do I want to go back? And then the eclipse will say to you, and what if I do the same in another country? Or what if I do sort of such a radical change, that what would that be like? And like you say, you've got to kind of go into it and see what it would be like. So Diana's sort of asking about, sorry, is this when you're pushed to choose one? And I think choosing one is such a passé concept. I've been really thinking about it for the past 10 years. When I was small, the messages you'd get like in movies and stuff is that you could be either the pretty one or the smart one. And I even sort of see that around like LGBTQ friends, where people sort of my own age go, I don't know where exactly I am inside. Am I L, am I G, am I B, am I T, am I Q? And now for this generation, who I wouldn't say I envy, but I really aspire to be like them. For this generation, they're not going with a letter.
No.
What are you? Not your business.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you? Are you a boy or a girl?
Not your business.
What kind of, yeah. I say this is not the conversation I'm having. Are you pretty or are you smart? I'm pretty, I'm smart, and I'm ahead of you in the car. Goodbye. So this sort of belief that you need to choose one is, to me, sort of very, very passé. You want to be both, be both. You want to be all of them, be all of them. Yes, there is a huge toxicity and patriarchy to the side hustle culture, where it kind of arose because nobody can afford anything, which is really not our fault. So everybody's having two jobs, whereas, my dad worked 8 hours a day, my mom worked 4 hours a day, and it was way, 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 way fine. And we got to spend a lot of family time, whereas, now we're like working all the hours. So the not having to choose one, I want to divorce that from the side hustle toxicity. But if you want to do both. I don't think the eclipse will force you to choose one. I don't think the retrograde will force you to choose one. I certainly won't. If you want to do more than one, and for some people, having multiple careers is a great relief, because when you've had enough from one Monday, Tuesday, you go to the other one Wednesday, Thursday, then you have a day off, then you do half a day on a weekend, and and that still works. So I don't think it's it's any of the March supercharged horror show that will force you to sort of go with just one. Sorry, that was such a long rant.
No, it's good. I loved it. And it's, I know we're going to work at the end, so I just want to, I was thinking, I just put another couple of cards for that, because I love that energy. And, we've got the Aeon. It's like, I think, as you say, choosing one or choosing two it's more like, what I'm feeling is like who you are is coming out and who you're not is coming off, and who you are at this core level will then attract the kind of work that you're doing. And that you've got the Ace of Pentacles, so that's a good thing. And it might not seem logical. So I've got to choose that or that, I've got to do that. But it's actually like that probably won't work. It feels very brittle. finding out what really is important to you, it's like the rest seems to fall away. And I know we're going, but I was just saying as well, like, yeah, I was told all the time, jack of all trades, master of none. You got to choose one thing and be good at that. Don't try and be good at everything. But I like doing so many things. And it's like that idea of the people that can weave different worlds together. It's very that kind of idea. It doesn't have to be really good at this, otherwise you look, like an idiot. You can do lots of things and do it well, and you're not going to be a jack of all trades or whatever they say.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It never occurred to me that even like inside a career, you're sent to kind of specialize in one thing. And I just thought, let me whip out one card for Diane. And even though it's an awful card, I love it here because it says to you, the moment that your brain goes, I don't think you can do it. I don't think that is just your brain. That is the retrograde. That is just your brain saying, I'm scared. I'm frightened that I might fail. And if you're not really getting on board with the concept of failing, you can try and decide that it's not for you. That's cool. That's not a stamp of imperfection on you. But when your brain is saying to you, you can't do it, you're too female, you're too short for it, you can't do it, you don't have the right qualifications, that's fine. Go and get the qualifications, or find a channel that will do it without the qualifications, or do something where you're promoted from the inside. Anything that your brain says, I don't think you can do it, I'd like you to give it some attitudes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, amazing. So we're going to leave you guys, but we're just gonna have a little look at Kay's message before we sign off, who says, sometimes I feel like my ideas are mine to get going, yet all won't be continued, as if a great start, not bad. And what does heart say? Love it or not, and how to change to more love in love. Right. Very mystical. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what does the heart say?
That sounds very Aries as well, like get things going but not going to finish them. That sounds exceptionally Aries. That's what I always do. A zillion projects going, and it's like, but again, sometimes it's the idea of just getting them started and finding the right one that's going to be the one you take away from it. And but don't
absolutely. I think there is no shame in starting something and not finishing it. If it's not for you, big deal. Big deal. Big deal. Whose business is it? Whose business is it if you started something and turns out it's not for you? Nobody. Yeah. That's who.
Exactly. Thank you. Wow.
Amazing. Right. Thank you, everybody, for spending a lovely time with us.
That whizzed by, didn't it? We just went Eclipse, and then it finished.
Yeah, exactly. That flew by. Are we around next Thursday? I believe we are around next Thursday.
I think we are.
I'm around next Thursday. Are you?
I'm around next Thursday.
Amazing. We'll see all of you next Thursday. Thank you so much. And have an amazing day.
Take care.
Bye.